Whether we like it or not, game delays are becoming super common, particularly for AAA releases. And although it's a generally frustrating trend, I wanted to figure out whether this is ultimately a good or a bad thing for gamers. So we'd better start this video off with why that game you're waiting for got delayed. Essentially, it's down to the developer being unable to meet the timeline set by the publisher, when somebody in said publishing team decided that so-and-so day of so-and-so month is the perfect time for their game to come out. A metric ton of planning and plotting goes into that decision of when to release a game. It encompasses everything from popular seasonal release windows to optimal days of the week, to what will help the publisher fulfill their financial goals in each quarter, and then, oh yeah, how long the development of the game is actually going to take for the guys putting the hard dev hours in. So let's talk why game delays might be good for gamers. Not an immediately popular opinion, but bear with me. Mario and Zelda mastermind Shigeru Miyamoto once said, "A delayed game is eventually good. A rushed game is forever bad." Delays may be hugely frustrating, but patient gamers usually do end up with a better product. Most of the time when we get the news about game delays, you guys are of the opinion that you'd rather wait longer for the game that you expected and not pick up the cut down or buggy version which is ready on time. There's another solution to this, which we've seen lately with The Sims 4 as well as both new consoles, and that's Day 1 updates. Day 1 DLC is a pretty bad look for a publisher when, although the game is out, it's in dire need of a patch, since it gives the sense that whatever you just spent your money on could be unfinished or unpolished. Alright, so what about the bad? What about the gamers who feel seriously snubbed by publishers pushing their anticipated games back days, weeks, or months? We're given release dates for a reason, because that's when we expect to be able to get our hands on a game. We might throw some money down on a pre-order, and when it doesn't happen, it impacts everybody. Quite apart from what has become the utter uselessness of release dates for gamers, given they're rarely kept to, it's actually publishers and devs who hurt the most from game delays. Let's take Watch Dogs for instance. That game sat on the hype wagon for a really long time, and not all of that was intentional thanks to a several-month-long delay. This is the kind of AAA release that has dozens of marketing execs making careful calls on when to release game info, trailers, gameplay, and demos, all ramping up to the release. This stuff doesn't happen incidentally. It's all plotted out to maintain that all-important hype train. Said train came to an awkward halt when Ubisoft decided to speak up about how Watch Dogs would snag gamers off open-world competitor Grand Theft Auto 5. The company released an image saying, "2 months are enough to visit Los Santos. Come to Chicago on November 21st. Then, not too long afterwards, the game was pushed back all the way to the following spring. And that's hardly the only example. John Romero's Daikatana was delayed all of 3 times, and it still wasn't very good, and Valve totally redefined the idea of episodic content with their Half-Life series. And by redefined, I mean they just totally stopped releasing new episodes after Half-Life 2 Episode 2. This throws everything out for the game's marketing. The carefully plotted schedule of trailer and gameplay clip drops, and all of a sudden that heavily advertised release date, which publishers drill into gamers' heads for months or years on end, means nothing. Bad for publishers, rough on busy devs, and frustrating for gamers. So let's say, as has been the case a lot lately, that a game just has to be delayed. What I'm proposing is that there's a right and a wrong way to go about that. I talk a lot about publishers and devs needing to respect their fans, and this is no different. If you're delaying your game, then gamers waiting for its release deserve an explanation. Even if you have nothing more to say than that the game needs bug fixes and polish, this is a case where saying something bad is actually better than saying nothing at all. Warner Bros. Mad Max was announced at E3 in 2013, slated for a release in 2014, and then delayed to 2015. This information was only conveyed through a trailer with the altered year, and this is hardly the first time a publisher has opted for this method of communication. Alternatively, CD Projekt Red, the development team of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, took it upon themselves to release an official statement to explain to fans where they were at, what they were still missing in the game, where they wanted to improve, and when they expect to be finished. Even when no explanation is offered immediately, gamers seem to have a lot more respect for publishers and devs who give gamers a real explanation. Innovation. Battlefield Hardline and Dragon Age Inquisition both got hit with delays this year, and although it took a while, EA came out recently to explain why each game had been pushed back, calling Dragon Age's delay a matter of polish and bug fixes, and Battlefield's the opportunity to include more features and innovation. Something even more specific would be nice, but it's better than nothing. It makes a huge difference to include gamers in the process, even when that process doesn't necessarily go to plan. But let me know what you think. Do you reckon game delays are a necessary evil, or are they totally unacceptable? Leave me your thoughts and I'll see you next week.